board meeting will be recorded and posted on the TRB website. Please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded because the meeting is Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. By continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. So today, it looks like we have a lot of people in Zoom and we also have some people in the office. So Nancy, I'm going to start off by giving the control to you to read in our continuance and our decision only while I go and put case number 2 into the petitioner's room here in our office.
Okay, fine. Let me lay out things here. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tax Review Board hearing for March 31st, 2022. First, I would like to turn to a continuance on today's agenda. It was listed as item number 5 for Antoinette Barksdale, last 4 digits of the docket 6698 for an address of 40 East Pastorius Street. So that matter will be rescheduled on another date. We have an add-on to the agenda that is actually the announcement of a decision, and that is our item number 6 for 3625 Spring Garden LLC. Last 4 digits of the docket 6624. The address for this particular property is 4262 Parkside Avenue. The board has granted this petition and all penalties and interest would be abated. I don't know if there's anyone on the call today for this item. If there is, if you have any questions, we could entertain them, but I think it's pretty straightforward. No one's speaking up, so I assume that they will be getting the letter that spells out our decision, and we can move on then to item number 2. Which is Michael Little, last 4 digits of the docket 6327. Property address is 4623 Wayne Avenue. Do we have Mr. Little available in the petitioner's room?
I'm present.
It's present.
Okay, please identify yourself for the record.
Michael Little, address 4623 Wayne Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19144.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
I do swear.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Who has this matter for the city?
Hello, everyone. My name's Renee Felder, and I'm representing tax revenue.
Are you an attorney?
No.
Okay, I was just double checking that so that I didn't ask to swear in someone who it doesn't come under our obligation for being sworn. You've given your name. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you have
Good
anyone?
afternoon. My name is Julia Park. I'm from the City of Philadelphia Law Department.
Oh, okay, fine. I didn't know that you were there. Sometimes we don't have an attorney present for some of these cases. Is there anyone else who will be testifying who may need to be sworn?
No, not at this time. Ms. Felder is our main witness.
Oh, okay, fine.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think we've lost one of our board members, which would mean that we do not have quorum at this moment. I'm just going to put a pin in here for right now, just to call and see if he's okay. Okay, one moment. Please.
Okay.
Okay. So just to clarify the address, we're speaking in regards to 424 North 62nd Street.
No, we're looking at 4623 Wayne Avenue.
Madam Chair, we only asked that because in the hearing list, the BRT number that's listed, that is for 424 North 62nd Street.
What I'm looking at on the agenda, when you're saying which number are you saying it is?
The BRT or the OPA number that's listed on the hearing list.
Oh, you're right. Then the refuse.
I don't have a B.
Attached. I can see the documents, Nancy.
Oh, you're talking about the account number in the center?
The RT number is attached to a different property address. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so we believe, well, Mr. Little's here, so
We
he can
need to wait.
clarify.
In any event, we need to wait until we have a quorum, so we really can't move forward. I mean, it's one thing to do a little housekeeping, but we can't take any testimony
Mhm.
or hear any evidence right now till we determine what our status is as a quorum. So I guess let's hang tight for a few minutes.
I apologize for the delay. Mr. Boyer, one of the board members, he says for some reason his internet just went down. So he just redid his router. He should be coming on very shortly. Ryan is back.
Okay, great. Thank you. What was discovered in the time period just as we were seeking Ryan's reinstatement on the Zoom call was that the property address that we're showing on the agenda is 4623 Wayne Avenue, but the BRT number that's listed on the payment bill on the attachment to the petition is for a property at 424 North 62nd Street. Could we get a clarification from the petitioner of the property that you're representing today?
Thank you. I'm Michael Little, representing 4623 Wayne Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19144.
Okay, the bill is addressed to you at that address, but there's an indication that the property that is represented by this particular petition is at another address. Do you have any affiliation to or with 424 North 62nd Street?
Yes, that's a property that I do own.
Is that the property that's in question on this petition?
No, that we were at 4623 Wayne Avenue.
The
Okay, 'cause
bill-
All right, so is the city prepared to move forward on 4623 Wayne Avenue?
We can move forward. I brought it up. There's no balance due for that refuge account, and that account number is 12000009072. So I'm going to check. He has another one, and it comes up under 424 North 62nd Street.
Mr. I'm sorry, just for clarification's sake, Mr. Little, the bill you attached to this petition was for 424 North 62nd Street. Do you own that property?
Yes,
That's what this bill is for. It is not for 4623 Wayne Avenue.
okay.
Are you prepared to go forward with this? And first question is really, do you have an issue with the property?
Nancy, do we have a quorum without
Yes,
me?
we have a,
Without me.
No.
I have to,
not without you.
I have to recuse myself. The gentleman that's before us actually taught me how to tie a tie on the bus. He went to St. Joe's Prep. I went to Jesu Catholic. I've been knowing him my whole life. It is impossible for me to be objective in this case.
Okay, at this point, as the executive director, I'm going to ask both the city and Mr. Little if they will be okay with proceeding with just 2 board members. That is okay if both parties can agree that it is okay for a decision to be reached with 2 board members.
Excuse me, Ryan?
Yeah, that was Ryan Boyer.
Yeah,
Ryan,
Oh,
Melissa,
it's
is
me.
the alternative? We
yes,
can
I'm fine with,
Until Dominique comes in.
Yes, but I have no idea when she will be in. So we would actually just have to hold this until and move to the next case. That's the only
That
other.
would be the other.
no, I don't have, I'm sorry, I don't have time to hold it.
Okay, so.
Because that's
I'm
why I was
going-
here early, because I was trying to,
I understand that, sir. Are you okay with proceeding with just 2
Yes.
board members? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
The city,
Yes.
I asked you the same question. Are you
Yes.
okay with proceeding?
Go
with-
forward. And just to,
Yes.
Ms. Felder, I'm sorry, when I refer to the city, I'm actually referring to Ms. Park because she's the attorney for the city.
okay,
And you're technically a witness. So I just want to make that distinction clear.
Yes,
Okay.
we are comfortable moving forward with 2 board members at this time.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
We still have to
Okay.
get to the issue of whether or not Mr. Little understands that he is here for 424 North 62nd Street and not 4623 Wayne Avenue.
Understand clearly.
Okay, it does sound like the city's prepared on either property, however. And I think Ms. Felder has already testified that the balance for Wayne Avenue is 0.
correct. That account was closed February 22nd, 2011.
Okay. So then, Mr. DeLittle, do you want to move forward on the other property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay,
so
that-
there you
thank
go.
you. Does the city have the numbers to read into the record for the property at 424 North 62nd Street?
Yes. The principal balance is $3,700. Interest is $1,932. The penalty is $2,843.75, which brings this total balance to $8,475.75. The years that's included is from 2012 to current.
2012, did you say?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Does the city have any other opening comments, or should we be turning to the petitioner?
Yes, the property at issue is an investment property purchased at sheriff's sale. The petitioner does not reside there. I believe his primary address is the Wayne Avenue address that we discussed earlier. Since this is a non-owner occupied commercial property, the refuse fees must be paid. The city requests that the petition to be denied.
Let's turn to the petitioner and ask him to tell us why he's here, what he's looking for from this board, and whether or not he has any outside contracts that are in force for trash removal at this address.
I say that, I don't understand. Say that again, ma'am.
Well, I would like to, we would like to hear from you about what your issues are here, what it is you're looking for from this board. And I ask specifically that you address the question of whether or not you have a trash removal contract with someone that may be in play in this matter. Quite often that's the case, and that's why I was asking for that to be identified. But if you could address your perspective on this, this matter, the numbers have been read into the record, and it covers from 2012 through the present. And so we want to hear from you.
Yes. Well, I do own the property, and the property is vacant. But what has been happening is people have been coming by and leaving trash in front of the door for years. And I'm just looking for some kind of relief and get on a payment plan so I can move forward with this.
Have you attempted to do anything to ensure that they're not leaving trash there, or to have it removed in a fair and equitable way?
Yes, I have. I myself have been there on Tuesdays to identify what trash was mine and what trash wasn't mine. I've also talked to the neighbors to keep an eye out of people who are throwing trash. It was one time I had a dumpster out there, and they took the dumpster and they filled the dumpster up with regular trash from the street. But I've done several attempts to stop people leaving debris at the property.
You said the property is vacant, but you seem to indicate that there is some trash being produced from and by that property. Can you help us to understand?
That property is there's not trash coming from inside the property.
What?
People from the outside are putting
That
trash.
part I understood, but I thought that you were saying that that there was some trash that was being generated at your end, not just
No,
what.
not on my end. Not on my end.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood.
The property is totally vacant.
Mr. Little, do you have a vacant property license?
I don't.
And what are your plans for the property?
I am trying to rehab the property. But you know, with all the COVID stuff going on, it was hard to even get things up and running and continued.
Okay, thank you.
What about in the period before COVID? Because these numbers go back to 2012. Was there any activity or anything going on in that earlier time period in reference to rehabilitation?
No, there wasn't.
Okay, is that everything that you want to present to the board before we turn to the city for their comments?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could we hear from the city then, please?
Oh, I just have some questions for Mr. Little. Was this vacant? Was this property vacant for all the years in dispute since 2012?
Since 2012.
You had no tenants inside?
No tenants at all. None.
Okay. I would like to turn to my witness. Ms. Felder, did you have a chance to review the petitioner's account?
She's muted.
Apologize, yes,
Is there a refuse account for this property?
yes,
Was this account ever closed?
no.
What type of property is this?
This is titled as a hotel apartment.
Okay. Are these properties subject to refuse collection fees?
Yes,
Was there any private hauler contracts for the years in question?
no,
Has any exemption been filed by the property owner?
no. Well,
That's
just one thing, TRB shows, it was a denial for TRB once before for a no-show.
okay. All right. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, so that's it from the city?
Yes.
Okay, I guess it's time for the board to step aside unless, are there any questions from board members? I neglected to ask that first.
Not for me. I'm ready to step aside. I don't know if Dominique has something.
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, so did you hear enough of the testimony to have an idea of what's going on here?
Yes, I was reading the
Okay, and is Ryan still on?
He is still on.
Yes, I'm still on.
Ryan recused himself, though.
He recused himself. Okay, so
Ryan
now we have 3 members and 3 members who are comfortable in proceeding. At this time, if everyone can just hold tight, the board is going to go into a breakout room, make a determination, and be right back. Thank you. I'm just waiting for two other board members to come back into the room. Nancy, everyone is back.
Okay. The board has reached a decision. Based on the situation here, you would have to have a vacant property license to avoid having this fee be accumulated. And so we're looking back at a period of multiple years where you didn't have such a license. And the board is willing to help out a little bit by saying that we would abate the penalty that's due on this this bill. In order to stop this from coming in as a bill for the property, you would have to have a vacant property license, or if you get to a point where you have activity there, the other possibility would be to have a contract with a hauler to remove the debris that's accumulating there. So it is the board's decision to abate the penalty and ask that you enter into payment arrangements with the city for the balance that's due. You'll get a letter from us that spells out our decision. Both sides do have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of the date of our letter. But I'm going to assume for the moment that neither side is going to choose to appeal. And if that's the case, then you should be talking with the city about entering into appropriate payment arrangements for that balance.
How much is?
What was read into the record was a total of $84.75, but $2,843 of that, if my notes are correct, are represented by the penalty. I have a number of $3,700 for principal and $1,932 for interest, but they may not be the final or exact numbers.
And Nancy,
Yes,
this is
don't work
Lois.
with-
I concur.
Dominique Ward concurs as well.
Okay, and Nancy Camerodiner, I concur as well. Thank you very much for coming in.
So how much do I owe after the,
You need to get that from the city. I gave you an estimate of it based on the numbers that were read into the record today, with the principal balance due as $3,700 and the interest as $1,932. I don't know if those are the exact numbers. You'll get a bill after the, first you'll get our letter, and then there'll be a period of time where you have an opportunity to appeal to the court, or the city does. Assuming that neither side chooses to appeal, then you'll get a restated bill that reflects our decision. And that's the point where you would talk with them about the terms and conditions of a payment agreement.
thank you.
But you have the right to, talk to them informally at any point with the city after you get the letter. I would wait until you have the letter in hand to talk to anyone at the Department of
How
Revenue.
do I get in contact with Renee Felder?
You can come down to 1401 JFK Boulevard. My name is Renee Felder, and from my understanding, they are abating 100% of your penalty, which is $2,845.75.
45.
You can come down and make your agreement once the account has been adjusted.
Where would he find you or whoever he should be meeting with?
He could
What
speak
floor?
with, he could speak with any representative, but if you choose to speak with me, that's fine. But your account has to be adjusted first before we make the agreement.
Right.
And
So-
that takes time, Mr. White, Mr. Little. That takes time. That's gonna take at least two to about a month before you get our letter and the department makes the changes on its end, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Will somebody
Okay,
call
thank you.
me? Will somebody call me?
No,
Oh.
we're gonna send you a letter in the mail, and then the Department of Revenue will send you a bill in the mail.
Okay,
And
Instructions on those papers as to what you need to do.
thank you, Ms. Weiss.
All right. Thank you.
thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you.
The next case is going to be number 4.
Great. Number 4 is Shirley Lambert. Last 4 digits of the docket, 6601. The property address here is 4115 to 17 Brown Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Darrell Shorter, and I represent Ms. Lambert, who is on the call She's listed as Valerie Williams on her
Okay,
on the screen, but
okay.
Valerie
Are you
Williams is Shirley Lambert.
Are you an attorney?
I am, yes.
Okay. Ms. Williams, would you identify yourself for the record, please?
You're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm Shirley Lambert, not Miss Williams. I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. And you are indeed listed as Shirley Lambert on the form. That's my error. He did say that you were listed with another name on the screen, and I apologize for not picking up on that properly. Please, you've identified yourself for the record. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
If I may also, there is a Eileen Bird who is also on the Zoom call. And she may or may not be a witness. It's not clear that I'll need her,
would you
but
like us to swear her in at this point so that if you do need her as a witness that you're prepared?
yes, you may. You may.
Okay, please identify yourself for the record. Is she muted? Oh, there you go. Ms. Bird?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Please identify
Okay.
yourself for the record.
Eileen Bird, B-Y-R-D.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Who has this matter for the city?
Good afternoon, Julia Park for the City of Philadelphia.
Okay, do you have any witnesses who may need to be sworn, or is the witness who appeared earlier and was sworn the only one?
Yes, Miss Renee Felder will be my witness.
Okay, so we don't need to swear. Do you have any opening comments or is Ms. Felder going to give us the numbers for the record?
I can provide you the numbers for the record. Principal amount, $3,850. Interest is $2,452.50. Penalty is $3,516.88.
And do you have a total?
$9,819.38.
Okay, thank you. Does the city have any opening comments?
I'm sorry.
What were the years?
Question?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we didn't have those.
Okay, Ms. Lambert appeared to own this property, correct me if I'm wrong, from 2019, but the years in question is from 2000, they have here 10 through 19.
I owned the property during 2010 to 1985 to 2019.
Correct.
But the years in question here are 2010 to 2019, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Does the city have any comments before we turn to the petitioner?
Yes, so this property is also a commercial rental property. Additionally, the property has since been sold, and there's only, from my account and review, I believed only penalty was remaining on the account because this property was sold in 2019. For these reasons, the city requests that the petition be denied.
Let's hear from the petitioner about the status of the property first, and then anything else that they need to add for us so that we understand the petitioner's perspective on this.
If I may, do you want to hear testimony, or would you like to hear argument first? Because I think it could be resolved fairly simply.
Well, however you think it's best to lay it out for us. We do want to hear from the petitioner, whether it's through information that you elicit or however we best get the information to know what the whole picture is.
Okay, all right. I'll just solicit the information. Ms. Lambert, when did you purchase the property?
In 1985.
And since that time, have you used this property as a rental property?
No.
Have you at any time had a rental license from the city of Philadelphia?
No.
Have you at any time had any renters in this property?
No.
during the time that you have owned the property since 1985 or 86, have you yourself lived in this property?
The entire time.
And again, so just so we're clear, this property is not a rental property at all,
Correct,
and it is not used as a commercial property at all.
correct.
I have no further questions at this. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. And in 2019, did you sell this property?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. So you no longer own the property at all.
Correct.
No further questions at this time.
I just want to clarify, I wasn't sure when you said that you didn't have any rentals, did you live in the property during that entire time period?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I thought that's what you said, but I just wanted to clarify it because I didn't quite hear your words.
This is Board Member Boyer. I have a question as well.
Please.
Is it a single family home, or what? Give me the type of home it is, man.
It was a single family home.
I believe it's listed as a duplex, but she has used it only as her sole property by herself, living by herself. So I think, yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Can you explain why we're here today? The city has raised the argument that the only amount that's due and owing is the penalty, and the property was sold in 2019. What exactly is the basis for your client's petition, since she, one, no longer owns the property, and two, is she disputing the bill? Is she saying that she doesn't need to be here today? I'm just trying to get an understanding of what direction we're supposed to be heading in.
Yes, unfortunately, she wasn't even aware of any of this at all until she attempted to sell the property in 2019. At that time, the title company obviously held an escrow, I guess a balance that they just recently paid out. And so the reason that the petition is here is because we are seeking reimbursement, because she should have never have been charged refuse, because it is a single family home, a residential home only.
So the balancing of the sale of the property paid off the bill due and owing. And so at this point, you're seeking a refund for that because she didn't get that from the escrow.
Yes, it was just recently paid. I think she had filed, obviously she had filed an appeal to that a while ago. It just so happened it took longer to get in front of the board so that we could seek, so that it could be determined that she is exempt from the refuse tax.
Ms. Lambert, did you get bills for these refuse charges? What
No.
did you do when you got those bills?
I did not receive a bill. What happened was, when I went to sell the home, I was presented by the settlement company that there was a lien on the house regarding the refuse. I went to the city, obtained the bill, and proceeded from there in 2019.
Can I ask a question of the city? What's the basis for your testimony or information that this is a commercial rental property?
So I have some follow-up questions that might clarify and would answer Ms. Weiss, Board Member Weiss's questions. Ms. Lambert, do you remember a lawsuit that you filed in landlord-tenant court back in 2015?
That was to get my nephew, my cousin out because he was tearing up my property. I did not rent to him. He lived with me.
What's the name of your cousin or family member?
Aaron Boyd.
Did you get a rental license?
I was told to get one in order to get him out. Yes. I went through the court procedure to follow that. Yes.
All right, I didn't get the name of your nephew.
Aaron Boyd.
Is this a running address? Who lives in the other property?
No one.
So it's been vacant the entire time?
Yes.
Did you bring any proof of vacancy, like for instance, utility bills?
I just have I have an old bill that is in my
This is
Old
Eileen
bill.
Bird. Can I interject?
Wait, just a second, Ms. Bird.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you can see it. I have an old water bill. And then I have a gas bill. Most of my stuff was shredded once I sold it. So these are ones I found.
So you continue to pay utilities, but
I paid utilities up until May of 2019, yes.
and
And Miss Lambert, I just have one more question. We have a primary mailing address for you and one of our city accounts as 185 Weaver Street. Is that true?
As who? I don't know that address.
As 185 Weaver Street?
I have no idea where that is.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
and just so I confirm, you did or did not live in the property during most or all of this time?
I did,
You did live there up until the time you sold
yes.
it? Okay.
Could I ask some clarifying questions, Nancy?
Sure.
Okay, so could you explain to us what this property or these properties look like? Are these two separate properties or is it one?
It's one house with two separate doors.
But the city has it listed as two separate properties?
I'm not sure.
Oh, so if
It's listed as a merging address.
I'm sorry, are there two OPA numbers, one OPA number?
No, one OPA number is the merging address.
Okay, so it's one building,
One parcel, yes.
one parcel, one
Do we have
parcel.
any-
Ms.
do we
Wood,
have any pictures of the property?
yes, we actually do have pictures. I could share it on my screen if
Please,
the board would
please.
allow.
Please.
Please.
Okay, I'll share my screen at this time.
doing that, do we have a standing issue here since the property's been sold?
No, we have a power of attorney.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I will share my screen at this time to show the property. Is everyone able to see my screen?
You can see your,
Yeah.
So I'm gonna zoom in,
and that shows the two entrances.
two doors, yes.
And they have different numbers on them. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm sorry, yes, I don't know if you can see that well.
Mhm. Wonderful.
Is that
I
better?
can see both numbers.
Is that better? Okay.
Now, perhaps Ms. Lambert can help us. If you could let us see the upper levels, I don't know how many, how many floors or what
It's a
constitute.
three-story building.
So that brick structure is a part of the
It's
property?
just it's the three-story building straight up from the bottom and goes straight up.
Okay. It's hard to tell here because it looks like that part that's up with the brick is only on the 15 side.
It's the picture towards your right is not part of that building. It's just the two doors and the rest of the building going upward.
That's what I was expecting. But there's nothing, there's only the one floor where the door to the left is located?
Correct.
Are there other rooms there or is that just an entry?
No, that was the first floor.
It's a full floor, try that again, a full first floor.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for helping to clarify. Anything else you have to add before we step aside to consider our decision?
Well, I'd like to just ask her some brief questions regarding, I think, what was indicated related to, I think, a suit that she may have filed with the city. Can you explain why you chose at any time did you have a lease with Mr. Boyd?
No,
And Mr. Boyd is a family member?
yes,
And were you advised at some point to file for an eviction to get him out of your house?
yes,
Okay. And I guess they told you to evict as opposed to do an ejectment action?
yes,
Okay. And so you obtained a license, or did you obtain a license?
yes,
And was that solely to bring the case into the municipal court for an eviction?
yes,
Okay. And again, did you receive any funds from Mr. Boyd
no,
in order to stay in the place?
no,
Okay, and then I think one of the questions is, so we're clear on the picture that's there. There's the first floor there that comes in, I guess it's 4117.
mhm,
And then there's the 4115.
correct.
On the ins, is there can you, I guess if you can you explain the structure when you walk in each of those doors?
Well, before they renovated, because I'm not sure what the structure is now, it was just
Okay.
a 3-room on the first floor. And on the second floor, it was 2 rooms, and on the third floor, it was 2 rooms.
And so just to confirm, is and maybe I'll ask the city this question, is that picture from today? Or is that, go ahead, city. I'm asking the city that question.
Oh, yes, Mr. Shorter, the picture is from a Google Maps printout and it says November 2020.
Okay, so I think what maybe should be clarified, Ms. Lambert, is that how it looked when you sold the property?
It had 2 doors, yes,
Okay, and so everything that it looks like now is what it looked like then?
yes.
Okay.
Ms. Lambert, can you go, if you entered the door at 17, could you go to the portion of the house that has the door for 15? Or is there a complete
No.
wall there?
It's a complete wall.
Okay, so if you'd have to go outside to go from 15 to 17.
Correct.
Okay.
I have some follow-up questions, very quickly. Ms. Lambert, when you filed that landlord-tenant action back in 2015,
Mhm.
are you aware that you listed the rent as $400 per month?
To get him out, yes. He never paid me.
And then you also attached with that complaint a lease?
It wasn't a real lease. It was when I printed off and presented to the court and presented to the court where I was trying to get him evicted.
All right, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Do any of the board members have additional questions?
No, I'm ready to go back to the breakout room.
Well, the city has to put on their case first.
I'm sorry. I thought they did. I'm sorry. I apologize, Dominique.
This
Judge.
is Eileen. Can I speak?
Well, your attorney has not called you as a witness as yet. So if he's going to call you before he rests his case, yes, but if not, then Ms. Park will need to be able to present her cases on behalf of the city.
Ms. Bird, are you going to be adding anything that has not been already discussed?
Well, I just want to clarify something. You asked Shirley, did the property look like that? It
Yes.
did not.
Okay.
Shirley sold the property in 2019. They renovated the front of the property. That's all I wanted to add.
Okay. All right. And so, okay. Did somebody have I mean, so the brown part that's there now, that was what? That was obviously different.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Does the city have anything else they wanted to raise? I had thought you were finished with your
Oh,
comments.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I have my questions for Ms. Felder. Did you have a chance to review the petitioner's account?
I did review the account, but once I seen that it was not in her name, I didn't think that we were going to go any further, but I have the account up now.
Okay, thank
It
you.
does-
Mhm. Was there a refuse account for this property under Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Okay, and when was it closed?
This account was closed just recently. Let me go back into the notes.
Can I object? It was not under my name. It was under Jerry Porter's name. It was never under my name.
Not Miss Williams, I'm sorry, Miss Lambert, you have
Lambert,
counsel
I'm-
here? Sorry, you have
I'm-
counsel here. So if your counsel has not objected, you
Oh,
cannot
I'm sorry. I'm
object.
sorry.
It's fine, it's okay.
I'll object to the extent that if she is saying that it is in the name of Miss Lambert, then we would object because we have the bills here that indicate it is a Porter Jerry or J Porter. And it looks like it was being sent to 743 North Holly Street as far as what we have in front of us.
So Ms. Felder, my question was regarding this property. Was there a refuse account for this property?
Yes, it's still a refuge account. The
Okay.
account is not closed.
Okay. Is the account under the new owner's name?
It's under, yes, the new owner's name.
Okay. And usually when there are changes in title, does the account follow that new owner?
Yes, the refuge account follows the property.
Okay. And what type of property is this?
This property is listed as a 2 apartment hotel.
And are these type of properties subject to refuse collection fees?
Yes.
Has any exemption been filed by the property owner?
No.
Okay, and that's all my questioning.
I have a question for Ms. Felder.
I have a question as well, but go
Hold
ahead.
on.
Go ahead, Mr.
Ms.
Boyd.
Renee Felder, they mentioned another billing address and bill. When did the bills change from Mr. Porter to the taxpayer currently here and now?
The date that the title was transferred.
So no bills after the date that the title was transferred in 1985 did Porter get a bill?
Porter,
But is Porter the current owner?
no. Porter was the previous owner. All bills are being mailed out to the mailing address on file.
Well, where's this Holly? I guess I'll ask plaintiff's counsel. Where you get this Holly Street address, counselor?
I'm looking at a bill here that my client received, which indicates, well, you probably.
You've got it too close. It's all blurred.
Yeah, let me just change my background back here. Okay, so this bill here, and I don't know if you can see, can you see the name there?
Back it up a little bit. That's the one that we have attached to the petition.
Okay, yeah, so this is the bill. She has never, Ms. Lambert has never received a bill. This is what was provided to her, I believe, at the time of closing regarding the bill of $5,722. On there, it indicates Porter Jerry and then J Porter, 743 North Holly Street. Now, he was the one that sold the property to Ms. Lambert back in 1986. At the time, I believe when Ms. Lambert, prior to her purchasing the property, she was renting the property from Jerry Porter. as a renter. So he may have had it as a commercial property and renting it out. But since she has been there in 1986, it has not been utilized in that way. And she has never received a bill from the property. And so my question for Ms. Felder is any of the bills that have been received, and I have a few here, and I might be able to share my screen so that you guys can see the bills. Is that okay? May I do that? And then I can
Yes,
ask
please.
questions from there.
If you think it'll help us to understand what's going on.
Well, I'm not sure it'll help, but all right, let me see if I can do this here. Okay, do you see this? Is everyone
Yes.
seeing this? Okay,
Yes.
It's showing up as 4 of 8.
yes. So yes. So this is, I think, from probably the collection agency that the city uses. And this is Pioneer Credit Recovery. And these are the bills here that she's received regarding this property. And as you will note, it's Porter Jerry is the one that is the one associated, I think, with this account. Because again, back in 86, 85, Miss Lambert was renting the property from Mr. Porter. And so he was, I guess when he moved, whatever refuse bills were being sent to his new address or wherever he was receiving them.
I just have to object to this document only because the account number is not associated with the SEE, the refuse account that we have on file for Ms. Lambert.
And just to piggyback off of Ms. Parks, we have an off-site mailing address for Jerry Porter at 5733 Woodbine Avenue, and that took an effect back in January 2005. So he also had an off-site mailing address.
Right. Well, I guess my question is and let me look and see if I'll show you I don't know if you saw the bill that she had received. Let me try to pull that one up.
Was this property purchased? Did they do a title search?
I have a copy of the deed. I can show you that.
No, when she purchased the property, was a title company involved? Was a title company involved? Because if she had done a title search, I understand that she was renting, then they would have did a title search and she would have been aware of the refuge account. Again, the refuge account followed the parcel.
Not
Hold
19.
on. When did she buy the property? In 85, right?
Yeah, there wouldn't have been a refuse account
He
fee.
purchased in
The
83.
refuge account started in 2010.
Right, she purchased in 1985, so a title search in 1985 wouldn't have brought this up.
And the refuse fee wasn't around then, was it?
Right.
No,
There-
2010.
Right, so that's, yeah, so I have a separate question for the city and Ms. Park, if you could help me out. Where were the real estate tax bills going?
I mean, we have in our various city accounts, different mailing addresses for Miss Lambert. Let me see. Let me just check it out right now.
And while you do that, I'm going to ask Ms. Lambert, did you receive real estate tax bills each year?
I'm sorry, Ms. Lambert, you're on
You,
mute.
Ms. Lambert. Did you receive a real estate tax bill each year from the city when you owned the property?
Yes,
And where did you receive that bill at?
4115 Brown Street.
Thank you.
Who are we waiting for right now?
No one.
I think Ms.
I thought
Parker
there
was
was,
looking at the
Oh, okay.
records to see what the city's address was, but I think I have my answer.
Ms. Parker, you still looking something up for us?
Yeah, but it's hard for me to, I'm not showing anything for some reason. I'm sorry that I can't provide clarification on that mailing address.
Thank you.
Okay.
I guess just
Any other
closing
questions, or are we ready to step back?
well, I think just to clarify, are you saying that you're looking in your system under 4115 or 4117 Brown, you're not finding anything?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm not finding anything on my end
Okay, and so.
because it's because the ownership change is hard for me to, it's hard for me to find it right now.
You can't
Yes.
go back to see where the bills were mailed to.
I don't have the ability to.
Okay.
Maybe other revenue professionals can, my colleagues in revenue can find it, but I don't have access.
If I may just make a closing quick argument.
Sure.
Regarding this, which is, I think, you know, the evidence that's been presented has shown that that Ms. Lambert has purchased the property in 1985 when there was no refuse tax. And she has had that property solely as a resident of that property and has not ever received a bill for that property. And so I think I would ask again for the board to show that, accept that she is exempt because it has been used solely as a residential property and not as a commercial property at all. And that the funds that were released, I think, by the title company to the city, that they be reimbursed to Ms. Lambert at this time.
Okay. Any other questions at this point?
I just to have my closing, like I stated, the property at issue is a commercial property. There were no exemptions that were filed. And also the argument is moot at this point. The bills haven't paid, only penalties remaining on the account. So I'm not really sure what relief they are seeking at this point.
She's seeking reimbursement of the money that was paid because she's never received a bill, and she has never used the property as a commercial property. So if she was, which she was exempt, there was no way for her to know that there was even a tax, a refuse tax, because no bills have ever been sent to her until she came before to have the property sold. And so again, she was not aware of a refuse tax. And even if she was, she would have been exempt. Or if she was, she would have filed the exemption because it is used solely as a residential property, not as a commercial property.
I think we're ready to go back, Nancy.
I think so.
Leave them alone.
Okay, everyone can just stay put. The board is going to go into the room and come back with a determination. Oh, come on.
Hey, is something happening? My mom called.
Julia, you're not on mute.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Renee.
Ms. Felder? Ms. Felder, do you have the list of the cases?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me what number 163 North 2nd Street is, please?
163 North 2nd Street on my list was number 1.
Thank you.
Nancy, Dominique, everyone is in.
Okay, the board's reached a decision. I'm going to call upon my fellow board member, Dominique Ward, to state what our decision was.
Good afternoon. The board has met and we are going to deny the petition. It is very troubling and hard for the board to overcome that there is a filed complaint in landlord-tenant court that evidences that a tenant did in fact live in the property, and under the penalty of perjury, it was signed by the petitioner that she was actually renting out the property. So as such, we'll be denying the petition. It's considered a commercial property, and as such, the refuse tax does stand. Thank you. There you have, I think, 30 days to appeal our decision.
I can pick up
Okay, go
there.
ahead.
If you'll get a letter from us that spells out our decision. Both sides do have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of the date of our letter. Going to assume for the moment that neither side is going to choose to appeal. And if that proves to be the case, then given the situation here and our denial of the petition, the matter would stand where it is with the payment that was made from the funds from the sale would stand with the city. Thank you very much for coming forward. I don't know if there's anything else that any of my fellow board members or our
My name is
head-
Ryan Boyer and I concur.
Thank you.
Paula Weiss and I concur.
Dominique
And Dominique Ward, I concur.
and Nancy Cameron concurs as well. Thank you for coming to us today, and you'll get a letter from us in the next week or so. It's a little bit slower now than it used to be, but you'll get a letter from us and then have the instructions on what to do going forward.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The next cases will be 1 and 3.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was just going to double check with you about it, though. Thank you. These matters are both from Lutraub LP. Last four digits of the docket 6350 and 6349. The property address on that first number was 163 North 2nd Street. And on the second number, it's 165 to 67 North 2nd Street. Who has this matter before us?
Good afternoon. May it please the board. My name is Andrew Miller. I'm the attorney for the appellant Lutraub LP.
Okay, just one thing as we're going forward, I can hear you, but it seems that you're not being picked up completely by your mic. So you may want to adjust your location in reference to where your mic is.
Perhaps just speak a little louder, sir.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And
Thank you.
Will you have anyone who will be testifying who needs to be sworn?
Yes, Barry Belsky.
Okay, please identify yourself for the record. Mr. Belsky, you're on mute. Mr. Belsky, you are on mute.
We
Can you
can't
take
hear
it
you,
off
Mr.
mute?
Belsky.
Barry, you're muted. You have to turn off the mute.
I think he's trying, he's been pushing something, but I don't know. It must be somewhere else than on your screen.
Well,
All right, we got it. I got it.
There you got it. Very good. Please identify yourself for the record.
Sure, Barry Belsky.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
I do.
Okay, thank you very much. Who has this matter for the city?
Good afternoon, Julia Park for the City of Philadelphia.
And do you have the same witness who was sworn earlier?
Yes, Miss Renee Felder.
Okay, she doesn't need to be resworn. If we could have the numbers for the record and then any introduction that the city wants to provide.
Ms. Felder, you're on mute. Happens to everyone.
I do apologize. We're speaking in regards to 163 North 2nd Street, correct?
163 and also 165 to 67, but I guess really I should ask counsel on this. Can we take these together or we should be doing them one at a time?
Oh, no, we can handle them all at once.
No objection. It could be consolidated.
Okay, so I have it, the balance on, because it's two separate parcels. So I will give you the balance for 163 North 2nd Street. The principal amount is $2,800. Interest is $999. The penalty is $1,542.52, which bring this total balance to $5,341.52. The years in question is from 2015 to current.
Do you also have the numbers there for 165?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Ms. Felder, when you say to current, are you talking about December of 2021 or June of 2022? Because I know
22.
22, thank you.
The next parcel, which is emergent address, is 165/67 North 2nd Street. The principal amount is, how would I have them all together? Okay, 2,800. It appears to be the same amount. They just put it all together.
So the
Yeah.
amounts for the first one you read apply to the second one as well?
Exactly, so I'm gonna double check it. That's it. Yeah. That's for the first one. And I'm going to the second one. Bear with me. Yeah, it's the same amount.
The same amount for each, or you mean that they're the
Same. It's two different parcels and it's the same dollar amount. I
Okay,
can
so
read it off to you.
Wait, so you're saying that the first property owes $5,341 and the second property also owes 5,000, or together?
$5,341.52. Would you like for me to share my screen so you guys can see it?
I respectfully, we don't dispute your calculations, we dispute liability. And if there's any uncertainty, you can clarify the charges.
The second property has two numbers in the address. Is it a larger property, or are they the same? Are they essentially the same size?
If I can present my case, I think it'll all be very clear.
Okay, let's pause a moment. Does the city have any opening comments that we should deal with before we get the items laid out by the petitioner?
Yes, so just to answer very quickly, it is $5,341.52 on each account. That's the total for each account. There are two separate parcels, so they have that amount owing and doing. The property is a commercial retail store called Mr. Barstool's, with offices and apartments on the second and third floors, with the retail store on the street level. Petitioners claim that they do not use private collection, but take the trash out themselves. Unfortunately, there's no exemption provided for self-hauling in the code or regulations. Therefore, the city requests that the petition to be denied.
We'll keep that in mind, and let's go to the petitioner. Please tell us why you're here and what it is you're looking for from this board.
Thank you very much. This is the second time that we're here. About 10 years ago, we had to go through this process on behalf of my client, Mr. Barstool. Mr. Barstool is a furniture seller. The majority of Mr. Barstool's waste is cardboard. Mr. Barstool has its own trucks, and it has its own accounts with transfer stations where it takes mostly recyclables to dispose of them with its own trucks. Mr. Barstool does not put any trash out for the city services to remove. Now, the interesting thing is we applied for the exemption, and the city requires that you prove that you have a contract with a third party to do the very same thing that my client does, which is to remove all waste, to take it to a licensed transfer station, and to dispose of it. So it's an anomaly of the city that, despite demonstrating that we do all the right things, the city will not give us the exemption. So 10 years ago, we appealed. 10 years ago, the board gave us the exemption. We found out that the city was billing us again, and we wrote letters and we said, look, you put us through these this difficulty before. We were granted the exemption, and the city said, sorry, we can't help you. You'll have to file another appeal. So here we are again, making the very same arguments with the very same evidence. We've presented to the board the receipts from the transfer station. There's two different transfer stations that my client deposits trash at, John DiRaggio and Sons, and also RS Richie Burns Company.
So you're not, they're not delivering that to a city trash collections. They're going to a private hauler and they're paying the private hauler.
That's correct.
I'm saying hauler, but the private disposal site.
That's correct. That's right. My client has his own trucks. And if my client is called to testify, he'll say exactly what I'm telling you, that he's got his own delivery trucks, that they bundle all of their cardboard, and that the minimal waste that isn't recyclable cardboard, they dispose of at the transfer station as well. And it's just a form of torture that the city doesn't grant the exemption to a property owner who already successfully appealed this to this board in the past.
Anything else you want to present before we turn to my fellow board members to see if they have any questions of you about this before we turn to the city?
No, thank you. With my package, I submitted correspondence from March of 2019 from Mr. Terrence Reed, the service representative at the Department of Revenue, and he acknowledges that the exemption had been granted by the board in the past.
But where in your packet would we find that?
That's page 2.
Page 2. We have 2 addresses, which, I mean, when I say 2 addresses, we have 2 different petitions and there are attachments at each. Page 2 of which one?
So I wrote a letter. I submitted a letter by email on June 14th, and I referenced both appeals. And if you look at page 2 of that letter.
Okay, I'm not, so far I haven't found that letter. I don't know if my fellow board members have.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
I found it.
If you received an exemption before this board, was it your understanding that you need to file exemptions annually subsequent to that ruling?
No, we were given the exemption by the board, and we used to deal with, and I'm sorry that I was not able to locate my file from, it's at least 10 years ago, but we had to proceed. We had to make this appeal, and the billing stopped. And the city acknowledged the decision of this board. And then all of a sudden the city said, no, you have to go through this again. And here we are.
When was the first time your client received a bill subsequent to the expiration of that 2015 exemption?
It was, Mr. Belsky can answer that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the period that you have as being unpaid.
When did you receive your first bill, though?
I don't have it in front of me, but I assume it'd be for the years that you're claiming it hasn't been paid. I would imagine that's when the first bill was sent after that hearing.
Okay, so you started receiving bills then in 2015 and did not pay them up until this point.
Correct.
Okay.
What did you do when you got those bills?
I called my attorney, Mr. Miller.
I see.
And you'll see that I corresponded with the Revenue Department about this, and then when I got the correspondence back, that's when we appealed.
Okay. Any questions from board members before we turn to the city to hear their input?
Well, does the petitioner's counsel want to do a direct examination of his client, or was that your case in chief?
I don't want to take the board's time unnecessarily. Mr. Belsky, do you adopt my representation as your testimony?
Yes, I do.
City, do you have any cross-examination questions?
Yes. So Mr. Belsky, Where do you bring the trash from your business? Like, where do you take it to?
It goes to Richard S. Burns. They're at 4300 Rising Sun Avenue.
Okay.
And just to clarify, there are no apartments above we occupy the entire space. It's our retail store as well as our warehouse space. So we have no tenants, we have no other occupants in our property.
And what vehicle do you use to haul the trash?
Our delivery truck?
And do you own that truck?
Yes, I do.
How often do you take the trash to these private collection landfills?
I would say every couple of months, actually, because like Mr. Miller said, we don't produce much trash. Most of our, that we produce is all recyclable cardboard.
And where do you store the trash that's accumulating for these months?
So we have a backyard where we have trash cans where we just keep it there.
Okay. Do you have any other proof of self-hauling besides your testimony today?
Well, I have all the bills that I've been paying to, Richard S. Burns, as well as that we've been dropping off the cardboard. We now have a cardboard service that actually picks up our cardboard every 2 weeks.
Okay.
As well. That I can show you.
Have you filled out any exemption forms on an annual basis?
No, because we weren't using a trash hauling company. We weren't able to fill out the forms. But we did not have a contract with Richard S. Burns. We take our truck to Richard S. Burns and just bring our trash there. They don't pick up from us. We don't have a contract with them to present to the city.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all my questioning.
May I ask, does the board have our submission of exhibits?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
We do.
We just
Okay,
did not know what
it's-
page you were referring to. When you say page 2, it wasn't necessarily clear to us.
Yeah, we've got a lot of pages, not all of which are fully numbered.
The
So-
letter that council was referring to is found on page 9. It was from Mr. Miller it's from Mr. Terrence Reed, a service representative, addressed to Mr. Miller.
Yes, and then behind that are the tickets from the transfer station.
Are they behind the property at 163 or the property at 165 to 67? Or both?
Both.
Both.
The
Okay.
167.
Okay, I just wanted to double check because I've been paging through and I wanted to make sure that I was looking at everything I should. Okay. Any further questions from board members before we turn to the city, or has the city also given everything that they wanted to? I've kind of lost track here.
Oh, I have my questions for Ms. Felder.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Did you have a chance to review the petitioner's accounts?
Yes,
Are there refuse accounts for both properties?
yes,
Was this account ever closed?
no,
And what type of property is this, these two parcels?
commercial,
And are commercial properties subject to refuse collection fees?
yes.
Has the petitioner filed any exemptions?
They filed, but they didn't submit the contract agreement with the private hauler, so it was denied.
Okay, all right, that's all my questioning. Thank you.
And as the board can see, we concede we don't have a contract with a private hauler because we take our trash, and it's very little trash, but we take our trash and our recyclables to a transfer station. And this board granted this exemption before, but the city decided that it was no longer going to accept the exemption granted by this board on prior application.
When you got that exemption before from the tax review board, and we don't have that document or those documents in front of us, was there any indication that this was a continuing exemption, or was it only for the time period that you petitioned the board?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't have a file from
Nancy?
10 or 11 years ago.
Did-
Does the board have the archive?
I do. I have the decision. It was to grant from 2011 to 2014. It is the
Correct.
board's position that our jurisdiction cannot go to the future. It can only go for years that have, and bills that are due and owing. And so all I can say is that our decision ran from 2011 to 2014, and we granted the request to not pay the refuse fees on this property.
And I guess this subsequent piece of that would be, was there ever any indication or any effort from the petitioner to ask for a renewal of that from the city each and every year? Or did that not happen until multiple years went by and then there was an outstanding bill of several years?
I'm not sure I can answer that question other than to say that we corresponded with the city, with the Department of Revenue, believing that we had the exemption from this board. And the result of that correspondence was the letter of March 8th, 2019, and this appeal.
So you didn't get anything early on. It was only after an accumulation of a few years that you got the word from the Department of Revenue.
I believe there was correspondence that preceded that, but I don't have
Okay.
that to show you today.
Okay, just trying to understand and put, maybe
I-
fill a few
I
holes
think-
in my questions.
Can I
Right.
ask a quick question? These exemption forms that were filed in 2021 for the two properties respectively, and it is demarcated as private hauler. Is your expectation that the process that your client is using, or rather your client, do you feel as if you would qualify as a private hauler? Do you feel like that's the only exemption you fall into? I'm just trying to understand what the purpose of filing these, if you don't feel like you qualify for it.
I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I think that to be a private hauler, you need a license to be a trash hauler, and you need, and that may be a state license. My client is not a hauler of other people's trash. My client responsibly deals with the trash generated by his business, and he pays to dispose of it, but he already has the truck. The truck is a licensed truck and he has the staff to load the truck. So the city's refusal to acknowledge this reality is is the basis of our appeal.
Okay, so these exemptions that were filed on February 1st, 2021, then you understand that selecting private hauler is just not the appropriate exemption that should be requested in this instance.
Well, we don't fit in what the city's arrangement is not logical. I mean, if you follow the city's rules and the way the city takes this application, if we were a trash hauler, unless we had a contract with ourselves, the city wouldn't accept the exemption because we're removing our own trash. I mean, I mean, the city is forcing us to hire a third party to do that which we do lawfully ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or issues that we need to deal with before the board steps aside to consider this matter? Hearing none, I guess we are ready to step aside.
Okay, everyone again, please hold tight, and thank you everyone for your patience today.
Mm. Ms. Park, it's nice to meet you finally in person.
Hi, Mr. Miller. Yes,
you?
I know. We spoke on the phone many times.
Yeah, yeah.
hmm So it's great to see you as well. hmm
We spend so much time at our desks.
Are you at your office now?
Man,
Okay. Yeah, same. It's I have a colleague right here. I'll be muting.
Okay, Nancy, everyone is back?
Okay, good, thank you. The board's had quite a discussion about this matter, and we've come to the conclusion that the prior decision did not create an ongoing exemption for self-hauling. As a result, we feel that the best we can do at this juncture is to abate the penalty on the charges that are outstanding. And you suggest that you continue to talk with the city about other options along the way. You'll get a letter from us that spells out our decision.
Well, may I ask for some clarification though? If can't you treat this appeal as an application for the exemption going forward?
Well, basically, we feel that we don't have a right to provide that exemption. I don't know on what basis that was determined before, but we're looking back and saying that they made what seemed to be an exception and didn't provide for it to go forward. They only provided for it to cover that period. And so we felt that as far as we could go today would be to abate the penalty. We know that this is something that could arise or result in more discussions about what other options and opportunities might be there, but we don't feel that the current legislation lets us do more than that. I don't know if my fellow board members want to weigh in on anything else with that, but that was basically what we discussed.
This is Paula Weiss. Nancy, I concur with the decision.
Dominique Moore concurs with the decision as well.
You'll get a letter from us that spells out our decision. Both sides do have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of the date of our decision, which you, of course, have the right to do. If there's no appeal to the Court of Common Pleas, then you would get a revised bill that reflects our decision of abating the penalty and have time and opportunity to discuss with the city payment arrangements on that. We thank you for coming in to us today about this, and I hope that this matter can be resolved on a going forward basis. Any other questions or anything else to come up? This, I don't see anything happening. This being the last item on our agenda, this hearing is adjourned. Thank you all.
Good
afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Renee.